I need you to picture something. Picture the perfect couple. The kind you see on Instagram. All smiles and adventures. That was us. That was me. I had the ring. I had the future. I had what looked, to everyone else, like a fairy tale. But what no one saw was the lock on the door. The one on the inside. The one he built so carefully, so lovingly, that I didn't even know I was turning the key myself. For 5 years, I was the sole member of a cult designed for an audience of one. Me. And the scariest part? I didn't even know it was happening. I thought I was just deeply in love. It all started in the most ordinary way. I was at a coffee shop, drowning in deadlines, and he was the charming stranger who offered to buy my latte when my card declined. His name was Mark. He had this easy smile that felt like a secret just for me. Within days, it was like a whirlwind picked me up and carried me away. The texts wouldn't stop, not in an overwhelming way, but in a way that made me feel constantly cherished. Good morning, beautiful. Saw this and thought of you. Can't stop thinking about your laugh. It was a constant dopamine drip of affirmation. He showed up at my work with my favorite lunch just because. He remembered my childhood pet's name, my favorite book I'd mentioned once in passing. He listened to me in a way that made me feel like I was the most fascinating person he'd ever met. He painted a future for us with such vivid detail. The house we'd live in, the trips we'd take, the life we'd build. It wasn't just love, it was adoration. It was being seen in a way I never had been before. I felt like I had won the lottery of love. My friends were jealous. My family thought he was a prince. And I was utterly, completely, and blissfully blind to the fact that I was being perfectly prepared for a perfectly constructed cage. The love bombing wasn't just affection, it was the foundation. And he was laying every brick with meticulous care. It started so small, so insignificant, that I brushed it off every single time. A comment about my best friend, Sarah. He'd say, "She seems so jealous of us, doesn't she? It's like she can't stand to see you happy." I'd laugh it off. Then it was my sister. "Your family is so demanding of your time. Don't they know you have your own life now? With me?" He'd frame it as concern, as if he were protecting me from their negativity. But slowly, a wedge was being driven. He'd get quiet and withdrawn if I made plans without him, giving me the silent treatment until I apologized for wanting to see my friends. He'd create drama right before I was supposed to leave, forcing me to cancel, to soothe his feelings. He convinced me that he was the only one who truly understood me, that our connection was so special and rare that other people just couldn't comprehend it. My world, which was once full of light and people, began to shrink. The texts from friends became less frequent. I stopped getting invited out. I was slowly, lovingly, being isolated. And the terrifying part was, I was doing it to myself. I was choosing him to avoid the guilt, the coldness, the conflict. I was surrendering my entire support system, one compromise choice at a time. And all I felt was a vague, constant unease that I mistook for devotion. The world outside had faded, and now the world inside our relationship began to warp. It was like the ground beneath my feet had turned to sand. He'd tell elaborate stories about things I had supposedly said or done. Terrible, hurtful things that I had no memory of. I'd stare at him bewildered and say, "I would never say that." And he'd look at me with such pity and say, "Babe, you did. Don't you remember? You were so upset. Maybe you blacked it out." He was so calm, so sure. And I started to doubt my own mind. I began secretly recording our conversations just to check my own sanity. I'd spend hours scrolling through my texts, searching for proof that I wasn't going crazy. He'd promise me things, and then later flatly deny it ever happened. When I'd get frustrated and cry, he'd call me hysterical and tell me I needed to get my emotions under control. My reality was no longer my own. It was whatever he decided it was on any given day. I was constantly apologizing for misunderstandings I didn't cause, for offenses I didn't commit. I became a shell, terrified to speak my truth, because I no longer trusted what my truth was. The person I used to be, confident, sure, sharp, felt like a distant memory. He had taken the mirror of my own identity and shattered it. And now I was just walking on the broken pieces, bleeding and lost. It was a Tuesday. Absolutely ordinary. He was at work, and I was cleaning. I was trying to find a charger, and I moved a book on his nightstand. A folded printout fell out. It was a web page. The title alone made my heart stop. Signs of Coercive Control. My hands started shaking. I unfolded it, and I read it. Right there, on the floor. It was a checklist. Isolation from friends and family? Check. Monitoring your time and movements? Check. Controlling your finances? Check. Gaslighting? Making you doubt your own reality? A huge, devastating check. I couldn't breathe. It was like the author had been a ghost in our home, watching us, documenting our life. This wasn't a list about a religious cult. This was a clinical, cold description of my relationship. My soulmate wasn't just difficult or moody. He was following a playbook. He was studying this. The love bombing, the isolation, the gaslighting, it was all a strategy. The perfect, beautiful world we built was a prison he designed. And in that moment, on my knees on the bedroom floor, the walls of that prison didn't just become visible. They collapsed. And for the first time in 5 years, I could see the sky. The control wasn't physical. It was linguistic. He built my cage out of words. These are the 7 phrases that were the bars, and once you hear them, you'll recognize them everywhere. Phrase 1, if you really loved me, you would. This is emotional blackmail. It holds your love hostage. It transforms your natural desire to make him happy into a mandatory obligation. If you loved me, you would skip your sister's birthday. If you loved me, you wouldn't wear that. It's a transaction where your love is the currency for his approval, and you are always in debt. Phrase 2. You're just too sensitive. You're overreacting. This is invalidation. Its purpose is to dismantle your emotional compass. Your feelings are not a valid response to his actions. They are a character flaw in you. It makes you the problem for having a natural reaction to hurtful behavior. You stop trusting your own hurt, so you stop complaining. Phrase 3. I never said that. You must have dreamed it. This is pure gaslighting. It's a direct attack on your perception of reality. When he denies something he clearly said, it creates a terrifying doubt. You start to believe your own memory is fundamentally broken. You become reliant on him to tell you what is real and what isn't. Phrase 4. My ex never complained. She appreciated me. This is triangulation. It introduces a phantom rival to create insecurity and competition. It makes you feel like you have to work harder to earn the love that someone else received effortlessly. You start striving to be better than a ghost, lowering your standards to win a game you can't possibly win. Phrase 5. No one will ever love you like I do. This sounds like a romantic promise, but it's a threat. It's designed to make you feel uniquely broken and uniquely salvaged only by him. It implies the world is cold and unforgiving, and he is your only shelter. It makes the thought of leaving him synonymous with being utterly alone and unloved forever. Phrase 6. After everything I've done for you. This is weaponized guilt. It creates a ledger of past kindnesses that you can never repay. Any attempt to set a boundary or express a need is met with the tally of his sacrifices. It makes you feel perpetually ungrateful, silencing your needs because you owe him for his basic decency. Phrase 7. We don't need anyone else. We have each other. This is the mantra of isolation. It romanticizes loneliness. It frames the outside world as a threat to your perfect, special union. It makes his presence not just wanted, but necessary for your survival, and makes other relationships seem trivial and distracting. It is the final, locking bar on the cage. Leaving wasn't a single moment. It was 1,000 tiny decisions. It was the decision to secretly save $20 from the grocery money. It was the decision to call my sister from a parking lot and say 3 words I hadn't spoken in years. I need help. It was the terrifying, heart-pounding decision to pack a single bag while he was at work. My hands shaking so badly, I could barely zip it shut. The escape itself was anticlimactic. There was no dramatic confrontation. There was just me, in my car, driving away, waiting for the world to end. And the hoovering attempts came, of course. The love bombing started again. I can't live without you. You're my everything. I'll change. The anger. You'll never find anyone better. The pity. I'll die without you. But this time, I had a new lens. I could see the playbook. Those 7 phrases were just words now, not commands. The withdrawal was brutal. It felt like quitting a drug. I had to relearn everything. how to make a decision without hearing his voice in my head criticizing it, how to trust my own memory, how to be alone without being lonely. The healing wasn't linear. Some days I was furious. Some days I grieved the fantasy, the future I thought we had. But other days, I felt a quiet I hadn't felt in half a decade. I could eat what I wanted, watch what I wanted, see who I wanted. I reconnected with my friends, who welcomed me back with open arms, no questions asked. I started therapy and began to understand that none of it was my fault. I wasn't broken. I was systematically broken down. This story isn't about him. It's about the person I had to become to survive, and the person I'm choosing to be now that I'm free. If you're hearing these words and your stomach is dropping because it sounds familiar, please know this. You are not crazy. You are not alone. The love that demands you sacrifice yourself is not love. Your peace is worth protecting. Your freedom is worth every single terrifying step it takes to claim it. And it is waiting for you. If this story resonated with you, if you saw even a flicker of your own situation in mine, please let me know in the comments. Sharing your truth, even anonymously, can be the first step to breaking the silence. And if you're ready for more stories, more healing, more reminders that you are not alone on this journey, then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We post new videos every single day because recovery is a daily practice. Remember, the greatest act of self-love is choosing your own freedom. Thank you for watching my story. Until next time.